Hello, my name is Ms. Wilson and I am an educational technology specialist. Today, I will demonstrate how to code a math game using the program Scratch. This game will allow players to choose a hidden number based on an algorithm in Scratch. So let's begin. The first thing you would have to do is to go to the Scratch website. And I'm already there, so you would go to scratch.mit.edu. Once you've landed on the website, simply sign in. If you haven't already done so, you may have to sign up and create a user. So I'm going to sign in. So once you sign in, you can do several things. You can save all of your projects that you create. You can also create a class where students can join your class and you will be able to access their projects and to give feedback accordingly. To create a class, you should go to your account name, click on that, click on My Classes, and then click New Class to create a class. Once you've created your class, it will give you a link. And just simply take the link and add it to your Google Classroom or Teams Classroom, whichever you use with your kids. Okay? So I'm going to cancel out of that. To begin a Scratch project, you would simply click the Create button. Once you're here, you will see three sections. The left side shows the coding categories along with the block code. The middle is where you design your coding or you build your coding blocks. The right side is where you have a display panel. So we're going to begin with the display panel. The first thing I would like to do is to identify a specific sprite. Now, a sprite is simply a character that is given animated characteristics or human characteristics. It is personified. By default, the cat represents Scratch, and so you will always see the cat in the display panel. The display panel is also where you can actually test your game as you're building your code. Now, in order to change out or add to a sprite, you would simply click at the very bottom, the little white kitty cat with the blue circle, to see an array of sprites. Sprites, again, are characters that you can incorporate in your game or your animated story. So I'm going to choose Avery as my main sprite. In order to move a sprite in the display area, you would just simply click and drag it wherever you would like it to stay. If you wanted to get rid of a particular sprite, just simply at the bottom, click on the sprite and then click the trash can, and you will no longer have access to that sprite. Again, you can always add it if you don't want it, or maybe you want it again, you can always add that particular sprite. But I'm only going to use one sprite, which is Avery. The next thing I want to add, just to give it a little flavor, is to add a backdrop. So if I click on the backdrop icon, you can see an array of backdrops. I want Avery to be in, let's see, the park. So I'm going to find the one where the bench is, and I am going to place Avery on the sidewalk. Now maybe I want Avery to be a little bit bigger. So down at the bottom you have options where it says size. I can make this maybe 110 and see if she grows. And yes, she grew. Okay. Yes, she is. She has been resized. Okay. So now I have the Sprite, and then I have the countryside park light setting for Avery. All right. So now it's time to code. The first thing I'm going to do as far as coding is concerned is to create a variable. Now, a variable is, just think of a variable as like a storage box. If you wanted to store items, you would normally store it in a box or maybe a suitcase, okay? And so we're gonna use these variables throughout the project. So the first thing I'm gonna do is click variable, which is color orange. I'm going to click on make a variable, and then I'm going to title this variable hidden number. Again, we're dealing with a math game, and I'm going to click OK. Now, I'm not going to use this number just yet, or this variable just yet, but you will see when I use it later on. But notice, it automatically gives information at the top. Okay. Now, if I wanted to hide this, of course, when players are playing your game, you don't want to give away what the number is. But during the process of building the game, I want to make this. I want to make this accessible. I want to be able to see the number just to test it out. But if you wanted to hide this display of the hidden number, you would just simply uncheck the box, and then it will disappear. We're going to leave it checked so that I will be able to test my game as I build the game. Now, the next thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to start the game. And the only way to start the game, or one of the ways to start the game, is to identify an event and a block that is within the events category. So once I click on that yellow events dot, I will click on the block that's entitled when flag clicked, and I would simply hold it down and then drag a copy in the design area. And what that says to the player is if I click the flag, whether the flag is at the top or in the middle of the game, it will start the game. Something else will occur. Okay. Now, when you're building your code, you need to think of it as building Legos, using Legos to build some type of object. And you just simply take one block of code and another block of code and join the code like you would do with Lego blocks. The next thing we need to do is identify to start using the variable. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is to click on the variables orange dot to go back to this area, and we are going to choose set hidden number to 0. Now, we're not going to, it's automatically there where it says hidden number, but say for instance it said something like my variable, I would just click on the arrow and then choose the variable that you want to use throughout your project. So once you've done that, you just click on it and it will create a copy, and you would just simply connect this block with the first block. The next thing you're going to do is notice there is a 0 there. If I wanted to change it to a 1, guess what? It should change to a 1 here when I click the flag. So let's try this out. If you click on it, there you go. If I change this to a 2, again, I click on the flag and it changes to a 2. But we want the computer to generate a number, to randomize the number. So in order to do that, I'm going to use the a block within the operators category. So if you click on the green dot, and this is again where we pull in math, we're going to find a pick random 1 to 10 block, and we're going to choose it and move it in the space where the 2 is. So what happens there is the computer chooses the number and it just picks it randomly, and it's gonna choose a number between 1 and 10. So if I click on the flag and I keep clicking on the flag, notice it's only choosing numbers between 1 and 10. If I increase the number from 10 to 100, now when I click on the flag, it now chooses numbers between 1 and 100. But we're gonna downsize and only have the computer generate numbers between 1 and 10. Okay? So the next block, we want Avery to say something. And this block of coding is in the sensing category. So when we click on the sensing, like blue category, we're going to click on ask and move it over to the design area. And instead of it saying, what's your name, we're going to say, what is the hidden number? So when the computer generates the number, then Avery will say, what is the hidden number? So let's see this manifest. So if I click on the flag, and then the hidden number is 4, and then there, the individual will have to put in the number. So again, the 4 will not be seen or shown for the person playing the game. And if I put the number 4 there and hit check, nothing happens. Why? Because we have to add more to the block of code. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a conditional statement. And a conditional statement uses the phrases if then. If I study for the test, then I will pass. Else, I will fail. The same thing applies with this project. If I choose a number that is the answer, then I win the game. Else, I don't win the game. So now let's add that block of code. If you click on control, and we're going to choose the if space then else block and move it right up under the sensing block. I'm going to build a simple game before we expand the game. So the simple game would be to choose an operator, code, block of code, which is the green, and we're just simply going to find choose the space equals 50 block of code and drag it in this area here between the if and then statement. Now, sometimes if you try to drag it inside of that space, it won't work. So you have to remember to drag it from right to left. It will highlight, and then you just let it go. So now you have an additional block of code. And we're going to put information in these spaces. So the information that we're going to put in the space has to do with, again, if this happens and it's equal to a number, then you win. Okay, if you choose the right number, then you win. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add an answer. We're going to go back to sensing, and we're going to choose answer, and we're going to put it in the first white space. And then again, if the answer is 50 and I put 50, then something will happen. Again, the answer is here, and then we're going to put something where it says 50. We're going to actually put the variable. This is where you actually add the variable hidden number. Again, we added it here when we set the hidden number as the variable to be used. And so we're going to add it where it says variable, and we're going to click on hidden number, and we're going to just drag it where the 50 is. Okay, so regardless of what the hidden number is, if we get it right, then something will happen. If you don't get it right, then something will happen. Now we're going to add the something. So the something is the looks category, is in the looks category. So we're going to actually have Avery say something if you get it right. And then she's going to say something else if the player gets it wrong. So I'm going to click on say, and I'm going to move it right up under the if block. And then I'm going to have her say, you're correct. So if I get the correct answer, a speech bubble will populate and it will say, you're correct. So let's try that. If I click on the flag and the answer is 10 because I see it, and I click the check box, it says you're correct. Now, if I get the wrong answer, I'm going to say it's 9, or yes, 9, because the hidden number is 4, and I click check. What do you think will happen? Nothing, because we have not added the code if a player gets it incorrect. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another looks coding block, which is the say coding block, and we're going to put it up under else. This time I'm going to say you are, or you're wrong. Okay, so now let's test this out. If I click on the flag, the computer chooses a random number, which we know is 7. If I get it incorrect, let's see what will happen. You're wrong. Okay, so this is a simple way of creating a game where individuals choose the random number. And you can always do a game where you have them choose it, and if they get the correct answer, you can basically have a discussion. How many times did it take you to get the right answer? So that's one way of using Scratch to code a simple game as far as choosing the right answer. Now let's expand this game. To expand the game, we're going to use greater than, less than coding blocks. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 2 more control blocks. The first control block I'm going to add is the repeat until, and I'm going to add this right up under set, because now what I want to do is if a player has or chooses a number above the hidden number, then I want Avery to say it's the number is less than your number. If a player chooses a number that's lower or smaller than the hidden number, then I want Avery to say the number is greater than the number. Okay, so we've added a coding block, the repeat until. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to repurpose a particular block. And the block I'm going to repurpose is the answer equal hidden number. I'm just going to simply click on this and drag it in the space right after repeat until. Okay, now that leaves the if space then area blank. So we're going to actually add some information there. We're going to actually add some information there. So the information we're going to basically add something similar to the block here with the equal sign, but this time we're going to add an operator block that has the greater than sign. We're going to drag it over between the if and then. And we're going to pretty much do the same thing as this block, the first green operator block, or the second one actually. And we're going to add an answer, sensing, answer, and then we're going to add the hidden variable. Now, of course, what it says is the answer will always be, the hidden number will always be the same until the player gets it right. Remember when we played the game earlier, and if a player got it incorrect, the game would stop. And then if you chose the flag again, a new number would be generated. So now we have it wherein if the player gets it incorrect, then if a player gets it incorrect, then the number stays until the player identifies the correct number. All right. And so where it says say you're correct, well, we know that based on if the answer is greater than the hidden number, then Avery will have to say something different. So we're going to say your answer is greater, or I can say the answer is less than your number. Or I can say choose a number less than your number. So that basically tells the player that if the number is, say, 7 and you chose an 8, well, now you can choose something less than 8. All right. Now let's see if that we can play the game just to see if it works. So I'm going to choose a flag. The hidden number is 1. So if I choose 3, let's see if you will see choose a number less than your number. Choose a number less than your number, okay? And again, it bounces back and it gives you another chance, okay? So now we're going to code if your number is less than the hidden number. So we have to add another control block. And the control block, again, light orange, we need to choose the if then block without the else. So if I click on it and then I put it right up under the else, okay, again, I can add another operator's block, but this time the operator's block will be a less than sign. So we're going to click on operators, and we're going to choose the less than block of code, and then we're going to add it in the space between the if and then words. Afterwards, I'm going to add the answer and add the hidden number. Now I can easily go to sensing and drag the answer block into the space, but I'm going to use a shortcut. The shortcut is just simply duplicating what's already on the design in the design area and moving that duplicate to the space. So in order to duplicate an answer, you would just simply right click on the block and click duplicate and move it to the designated area. You would do the same thing with a hidden number. Right click, duplicate, and then add it to that area. All right. So now one last thing is I want to change this "you're wrong" to choose a number greater than your number. So you're prompting the player to choose a larger number. Okay. So let's try that out. If I click on the flag and the number is 6, I am going to choose a 4 and then click the check mark, choose a number greater than your number. I wanted you to also see that if I choose to increase the seconds, it will allow me to read the speech bubbles. It'll give me a little bit more time to read the speech bubbles. Okay. One last thing I want to add is if, say, I get the right answer and I click the check box, nothing happens. So we kind of want to have something happen when you or a player actually gets the correct answer, the hidden number. Okay, so at the very bottom of your code, you would be adding at least a speech bubble. So you can add another, in the looks category, you can add another "say hello" for 2 seconds, drag it at the very bottom, and then Avery can say, "You win, yay." Okay. And of course, you can increase the number of seconds. You will see the speech bubble. So let's try this game out. So I click on the flag. Let me see. It's the hidden number is 9. Add a 10. And it says choose a number less than your number. I can add a 7. And it says choose a number greater than your number. And then now I'm going to add a 9. You win, yay. One last thing I want to share. Of course, I could have it where the backdrop or the backgrounds can change based on certain variables. I can have Avery do something different. But one last thing I want to show you to keep it as simple as possible is I want to add some type of sound. So if I click on sound, and there's a pop sound. If I wanted to listen to the sound, I really don't want that. So I would go to the sound area, choose a sound, and I have an array of sounds that I can add. So one of those sounds I would like to add is the clapping. I can listen to it, and if I like it, I can click on it, and now that is populated in my sounds area. So if I wanted to add it to my project, I would click on code, the code area, a code tab. Then I would click on the category sound to look at those blocks. And then I can click on this first one, play sound until done, and simply add it right before the "say you win" block of code. Now let's try this. the answer, the hidden number is 8, so I'm going to put an 8 and then click the check box. And then also what I should have done is I really don't want that one. So I'm going to deselect it or detach it from the rest of the code. I'm going to detach it, attach the say, and I'm going to get rid of this block by clicking on the delete button. And I'm going to click instead of that until done, because what happens is before she says you win, it has to finish the clapping. So what I should have added was the start sound clapping without the until done, and still put it right up under the control coding blocks and then add the UN. So let's try this again. So the answer is 7. I'm going to click on 7, or I'm going to type 7 and click the checkbox. And so now it happens simultaneously. I hope that you gain some insight as to how to use coding in reference to math. And as you can see, it's relatively easy, especially for your students. I know that second graders, possibly second graders, can do this type of coding. Definitely third graders can do it on up. You can actually code not only math games, but you can also code stories, make animated stories, and do all kinds of neat things. You can code an instrument for music. You can code a reading passage. You can do pretty much anything you think of as far as coding using block code in the Scratch program. I hope that you gain some information about this, and I hope that you use this strategy interactive tool in your classroom. Thank you.